Our first reading from the Old Testament is from the book of Deuteronomy, verse 26, and we'll read from verses 1 through 11. First fruits. When you have entered the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and have taken possession of it and settled in it, take some of the first fruits of all that you produce from the soil of the land the Lord your God is giving you, and put them in a basket. Then go to the place the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name, and say to the priest in office at the time, I declare today to the Lord your God that I have come to the land the Lord swore to our ancestors to give us. The priest shall take the basket from your hands and set it down in front of the altar of the Lord your God. Then you shall declare before the Lord your God, my father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down into Egypt with a few people and lived there, and became a great nation, powerful and numerous. But the Egyptians mistreated us and made us suffer, subjecting us to harsh labor. Then we cried out to the Lord, the God of our ancestors, and the Lord heard our voice and saw our misery, toil, and oppression. So the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with great terror and with signs and wonders. God brought us to this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now I bring the first fruits of the soil that you, Lord, have given me. Place the basket before the Lord your God, and bow down before the Lord. Then you and the Levites and the foreigners residing among you shall rejoice in all the good things the Lord your God has given to you and your household. And then our New Testament reading comes from Paul's letter to the people of Philippi in Philippians chapter 4, verses 4 through 13. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again. Rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. I rejoice greatly in the Lord that at last you renewed your concern for me, Paul says. Indeed, you were concerned, but you had no opportunity to show it. I'm not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through Christ who gives me strength. This is God's holy word for us this day. The teacher was lecturing his class on American history. Confident that he had covered the material well, he began to review by asking, a distinguished foreigner was a big help to the American colonists during the Revolutionary War. Who was it? A student's hand immediately went up, and without hesitation, she answered, God. Might not have been the answer the teacher was looking for, but she wasn't wrong. Moses begins chapter 26 of Deuteronomy with the reminder to the people of Israel that God will be their supreme helper and guide. God will provide the land that they are to possess, will be the source of Israel's blessing both the people and the land. God is giving the people an inheritance, having brought them out of Egypt to the land promised to their ancestors, and they are given both blessings and land. Moses also lays out the experiences of God's people. You shall rejoice in every good thing which the Lord your God has given to you. The people of Israel are expected to respond with gratitude and thanks towards God because of the continual blessing upon them as God's people. What can they do to express their appreciation to Yahweh? First, use God's gift to the fullest potential, fulfilling God's expectations. Israel was expected to come into the land, possess it, and dwell in it. This was God's promise to Abraham. But at this point, it was only a promise. The land had not yet been possessed. They had sent spies out, but the land had not been seized. The people stood between the promise of God and its fulfillment. They first had to arrive at the promised land, strive for it, and then live in it. Until that happened, they would be living below their potential and God's expectations. God's gift to each of us is our potential. Our gift to God is what we do with that potential. When we make small what God intended to make large, we are living below our potential and God's expectations. The purpose of our lives is to fulfill the expectations of the God who created us. That seems lofty, but it really isn't. If we concretely express our gratitude and thanks to God for all our blessings, our daily gifts, we are fulfilling God's expectations. We express our gratitude and thanks by returning to God the first of everything that has been given to us. Sharing our first fruits is an invitation to give to our God of the harvest from our God-given harvest. This acknowledges that God is the source and owner of everything. God's promises, blessings, and gifts are all for our benefit, with a deep, abiding presence for us to prosper. The first fruits that we harvest from our lives are from the bounty of mercy and grace and the abundance of God's love bestowed and shared with us daily. This Thanksgiving, we are invited to place some of our first fruits into a basket and bring it before God. Filling our basket with so many first things. The first fear, anxieties, and worries that we start the day with. All the unknowns before us. Health issues, prayers, and concerns for others. We also add to our basket all our thanks and gratitude to God for all our blessings, all our answers to prayer, and all our daily gifts. We present a full basket to our God and share our praises and joy for all the gratitude God has shared with us. Our basket is overflowing with gratitude. There is more than enough to be shared with others. Our first fruits are meant to be shared. The harvest is the story of God's goodness shared with others. Second, there is the gratitude and giving thanks. Glorifying God and providing encouragement to others. We worship and rejoice before the Lord our God with baskets overflowing. When God blesses us, even in the small ways, the daily gifts, we should not forget to praise our God and give thanks and gratitude. I love this quote from William Arthur Ward. Gratitude can transform common days into thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. This past year has been filled with many ups and downs, and it is still filled with so many unknowns. But Paul, in his letter to the people of Philippi, invites us to not be anxious or worry about anything, but be in prayer and thanksgiving, rejoicing and presenting our requests to God. Picture that overflowing basket being dumped out with all our rejoicing, giving it to God. All of it. Then, when we turn our basket upright again, we find it filled to overflowing with God's peace. God, who walks alongside us in all things, all circumstances, those ups and downs, the times of plenty and want, times when the harvest is bountiful, and times when it is scarce. Paul reminds us that God is in all things, and that we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. We give gratitude and thanks for that amazing love, grace, and mercy of the Lord our God through Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Paul demonstrates for us how hard it is sometimes to adequately thank God for the abundance of gifts and blessings. But Paul expresses gratitude in a low-key way, enough to prevent his friends from thinking he needs more, and then in a high-key way, enough to cause them to realize that he remembers all their past generosity and rejoices in their continuing affection and support. Shining through this collage of emotion, love, sensitivity, commitment, and appreciation is a picture of the people of God supporting one another. We are thankful for all the gifts we have received this harvest season. The gifts of hope, peace, healing, blessing, and a full basket that overflows with gratitude and thanksgiving. As we gather around our own Thanksgiving tables in the days ahead, how might we share our own gratitude and thanks? Giving thanks for the goodness of God was very ordinary to the English Puritans, as it was to the native people of this land, our nation, at what might have been the first Thanksgiving gathering. Gratitude is woven into every aspect of the Native American life and faith. Not only at harvest time, but every day. In every small act of hunting or gathering, they acknowledged and gave thanks to the Creator for such simple gifts. Then, as now, this daily practice of appreciation, of giving gratitude and thanks for everything, goes hand in hand with enjoying life and with being close to God. If we slow down and become fully aware of our daily gifts, we begin to truly live in God's grace and fulfill God's expectations for our potential. This morning, those of you gathering in person were given an apple as you entered the sanctuary. Those of you online are invited to also have an apple or any piece of fruit for this short meditation on appreciating our daily gifts. So I invite you now to hold the gift of your apple in your hand. I will guide you with my voice in and out and throughout this meditation. If you haven't done something like this before, please give it a try and let us all be open in our hearts to this experience. First, just relax. Settle fully into your spot. Close your eyes and allow your attention to gather in your breath. Feel your breath coming in and out throughout this meditation. Gently, by itself, be aware of your breath deep within your body. No force, no strain. Simply allow yourself to rest in the moment. Lean back and be carried on the gentle rhythm of your breath. In and out. From this calm, centered place, imagine yourself walking into a freshly mowed apple orchard early in the spring. Feel a soft, warm wind blowing against your face. As you walk, you find yourself particularly drawn to one old apple tree. Standing in the full sunlight, its branches just beginning to wake up from winter with new growth and new leaves. You settle back against its trunk. Here you are held without effort in a place of safety and peace. Rooted like the tree to the rich soil beneath you. Feel yourself falling into the orchard's warm embrace. The warm embrace of God. Breathe God's love deeply into your heart. Draw God's strength up into your feet from the fertile ground below you. Rest here for a moment. As time slowly unfolds, you see buds begin to form on the branches sheltering you. Buds that gradually open into a cloud of delicate white flowers. Hear the bees buzzing around the flowers, dancing in a pulse of life around you, pollinating each white flower, feeding off the sweet nectar. Listen. Wait. Now summer comes, and the flower petals fall around you in a shower of white. the summer sun and rain swell the flowers into a new shape. See the innermost part grow into a seed core. See the outer wall transform into miraculous molecules full of vitamins, minerals, and health-giving nutrition. A fruit whose flesh is crisp, juicy, and sweet, expanding with divine energy. Feel your heart swell as this apple grows larger day by day, right before your eyes. See it ripen in color as well as size, changing from light green to marvelous red. The old tree's branches begin to bend under the weight of its luscious fruit. Many seasons of growth have led to this one precious harvest. Now the air cools and the fall wind begins to stir. Reach up and pick just one sweet red apple, the one you are holding in your hand. Soon, many people will enter this quiet orchard to gather its bountiful harvest. Imagine their hands gently taking the apples from the tree's branches and placing them in large wooden crates. Imagine other hands carrying these heavy crates from orchard to tractor to truck, and then to market for other hands to select, taste, and enjoy. Your hand holds just one sweet red apple, a beautiful gift from the orchard's air, sun, soil, and water. A miraculous gift from an old tree and its friendly bees. A perfect gift from a loving Creator, our God. Allow your mind to enter into the apple's center, its seed core, and feel its energy of new life. Energy in perfect harmony with every one of God's creations. Now take a deep breath. And begin to bring your awareness back into this place. Become aware of your physical surroundings. Move or stretch as you need to. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Because gratitude is a universal spiritual practice, there are many wonderful ways to bring it into our daily lives. Some say grace over meals, or give thanks as the day begins, or as it ends. But we can give thanks and share our gratitude often. Whenever we start a new day or even a new activity. Or we can use a repeated action like starting a car or turning on a light to trigger our prayer of gratitude and thanks. Or we can keep a simple daily gratitude journal. No matter how we do it, we need to remember Apostle Paul's words to find the space and time to give gratitude and thanks and to rejoice. For the big things, the small things, daily routine things, and everything in between. It actually is good for our health and our welfare. Scientist Robert Emmons and others have discovered that practicing gratitude makes us healthier, lowers the risk of many common disorders like depression and high blood pressure. Really important in these trying times, grateful living makes us feel less alone in our struggles and fears, more connected to the flow of life. And it's a key component for personal happiness, love, compassion, and hope for the future. Because it directs our view outward, gratitude also makes us more generous towards others. When we know we are living in God's abundance, we are more willing to give and share. Finally, I invite you to share your apple with someone else as part of your Thanksgiving dinner, or a centerpiece, or a gift to a coworker or a friend, as an offering to the birds or squirrels. Let's keep our circle of gratitude and thanks going. Let's find the place where gratitude can transform common days into Thanksgivings, routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. May it always be so. Amen.